At exactly 4:11 a.m., when the night over eastern Ukraine was at its deepest and the battlefield itself seemed to be holding its breath, a massive military column began to move. Engines rumbled softly under strict radio silence. Headlights remained dark. Steel tracks rolled slowly over frozen mud. Nearly 1,700 Russian soldiers advanced through what appeared to be a deserted corridor, a narrow stretch of shattered villages, broken highways, and abandoned farmland that intelligence reports had marked as lightly defended. To the commanders watching, from far behind the lines, it looked like opportunity. To the soldiers inside the column, it felt like a gamble. And to the Ukrainian forces waiting in silence beyond the tree lines, it was the final piece of a trap months in the making. For days, satellite imagery had shown Ukrainian units withdrawing from the region. Drone footage confirmed empty checkpoints, burned-out defensive positions, and silent artillery zones. Intercepted communications suggested a collapse of resistance. Everything pointed toward retreat. But the battlefield was lying. What Russian intelligence saw as weakness was, in reality, precision choreography. Ukrainian units had not retreated, they had repositioned. Every movement had been calculated. Every kilometer of terrain had been measured, and every second of timing had been rehearsed. As the Russian column advanced, Ukrainian reconnaissance drones hovered silently miles above.
Stop right now at the battle line. I told that to President Zelensky. I told it to President Putin. Thank you very much, everybody.
Transmitting real-time positioning data to hidden command centers.
Mobile
Mobile artillery units rolled into pre-surveyed firing positions under thick camouflage nets. Anti-tank squads crept into abandoned houses, shattered factories, and tree lines, building invisible firing nests. Electronic warfare teams quietly began degrading Russian communications, introducing barely noticeable interference that would soon become complete blindness. By sunrise, the column stretched more than 15 kilometers. Tanks formed the spearhead. Behind them, armored personnel carriers transported infantry. Fuel trucks followed, then ammunition carriers, medical vehicles, mobile radar systems, and command trucks. It was a moving city of steel and flesh, threading its way through a corridor that felt disturbingly quiet. That silence was intentional. At exactly 6:38 a.m., the first phase began. Ukrainian commanders did not order an attack. They ordered the exits erased. Bridges behind the column vanished in simultaneous explosions, collapsing into rivers and ravines. Road intersections were cratered by precision artillery. Hillsides were collapsed using delayed fuse munitions, burying alternate routes under tons of earth. Within 5 minutes, the corridor no longer existed. The Russian formation was sealed inside a pocket. At first, many soldiers didn't realize what had happened. Radios crackled with confusion. Platoon leaders demanded updated maps. Drivers reported destroyed roads. Engineers scrambled to assess bridge damage. Battalion commanders attempted to reorganize formations, but their transmissions overlapped, collided, and vanished into static. Then the first drones appeared. Small, nearly invisible against the morning sky, Ukrainian quadcopters drifted overhead, releasing precision explosives onto fuel trucks and command vehicles. Fireballs erupted across the convoy. Secondary detonations followed as ammunition ignited. Thick, black smoke spiraled upward, creating towering columns visible for kilometers. Moments later, artillery arrived. Not chaotic shelling, not random destruction, but surgical annihilation. Each shell landed exactly where Ukrainian drone operators directed. Vehicle clusters, intersection choke points, repair units attempting to clear debris. Every movement was punished instantly. Within minutes, the pocket transformed into a burning maze of twisted metal and scattered survivors. Panic spread fast. Some units attempted to push forward. Others tried to reverse. But blocked roads, destroyed bridges, and overlapping artillery fire turned movement into suicide. Tanks jammed narrow roads. Damaged vehicles burned uncontrollably. The air filled with dust, smoke, and screams. Inside command vehicles, officers struggled to maintain control. Maps became meaningless. GPS signals degraded. Drone feeds vanished. Electronic warfare interference swallowed long-range communications. Entire battalions were now blind, deaf, and isolated. By midday, Russian commanders ordered a breakout attempt. Armored spearheads charged toward what they believed was the weakest segment of the encirclement. Tanks advanced through open farmland, infantry following closely behind. For a brief moment, hope surged. Then Ukrainian anti-tank teams struck. Guided missiles slammed into lead vehicles, mortar fire rained down in overlapping arcs, sniper teams eliminated exposed soldiers, artillery fell with devastating precision. Within minutes, the assault collapsed into wreckage. Burning tanks blocked the very route meant to save them. The pocket tightened. Inside, logistical collapse began. Fuel levels plummeted, generators failed, medical evacuation became impossible. Field hospitals overflowed with wounded, medics rationed morphine and bandages, tourniquets were reused, pain relief vanished, triage protocols shifted toward brutal efficiency, saving those who might survive, abandoning those who would not. As darkness fell on the first day, Ukrainian forces began psychological operations. Loudspeakers hidden among ruins broadcast surrender messages. Drone-mounted speakers transmitted distorted warnings in Russian, announcing that resistance was futile. Text messages flooded military phones, showing live images of destroyed convoys and intercepted radio traffic. Every message was designed to break morale, to shatter cohesion, to turn fear into surrender. Sleep became impossible. Artillery strikes continued through the night in irregular patterns. Not enough to destroy, just enough to deny rest. Explosions erupted unpredictably, forcing soldiers to remain alert, tense, and exhausted. Hunger sharpened anxiety. Dehydration blurred thinking. By dawn, hallucinations were reported. The pocket had become a nightmare without edges. Day 2 brought no relief. Instead of overwhelming bombardment, Ukrainian commanders shifted tactics. They launched calculated probing attacks. Small mechanized units struck vulnerable points, forcing Russian commanders to constantly reposition their remaining mobile forces. Every movement burned fuel. Every counterattack drained ammunition. Slowly, methodically, the trapped units were being exhausted. Sniper teams hunted officers. Drone-guided artillery targeted command vehicles. Communication networks deteriorated into fragments. Orders arrived too late, or not at all. Units began acting independently, fragmenting cohesion. The chain of command unraveled. Inside shattered buildings, soldiers huddled in darkness, whispering about rumors of annihilation. Some attempted unauthorized breakouts, slipping into forests under cover of smoke. Few returned. Most vanished into artillery fire or minefields. Medical collapse accelerated. Field hospitals ran out of antibiotics. Surgical instruments dulled. Blood supplies vanished. Medics were forced to amputate limbs without anesthesia. Wounded soldiers begged for evacuation that would never come. Cries echoed through abandoned villages, mixing with the thunder of artillery. As afternoon approached, Ukrainian forces prepared the final contraction. Artillery batteries repositioned for converging fire. Drone operators recalibrated targeting grids. Infantry assault units assembled along 3 axes, their movements hidden by terrain, smoke, and electronic warfare cover. The objective was no longer containment, it was destruction. At 1542, the final phase began. Precision-guided artillery obliterated remaining command vehicles, decapitating leadership. Drone-guided strikes eliminated armored concentrations. Electronic warfare teams flooded frequencies with interference, plunging the pocket into total silence. Then the infantry advanced. They moved behind creeping artillery fire, clearing trenches, bunkers, and shattered buildings room by room. Resistance was fierce but disorganized. Without centralized control, Russian units fought as isolated clusters, unaware of what was happening beyond their immediate surroundings. Some soldiers surrendered, emerging from ruins with raised hands. Others fought until ammunition ran dry. A few launched desperate final charges, sprinting blindly toward Ukrainian lines, only to be cut down by overlapping fire. By nightfall, organized resistance had ceased. The pocket no longer existed. Out of nearly 1,700 soldiers who entered the corridor, fewer than 400 survived. The battlefield they left behind told the story in silence. Burned convoys littered the roads. Tanks lay twisted like broken skeletons. Craters scarred farmland that once fed families.